Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Country Music Time Machine, your home for country music history. I'm your host, Kevin, and this is Country Legends. And today we take an in-depth look at one of the biggest country legends of all time, Hank Williams. As always, we appreciate your support here on the Country Music Time Machine, so please like this video and subscribe. Hiram Hank King Williams, a man whose brief life, burned with furious intensity, stands as a colossal figure in the landscape of not only country music, but all American music. His story is not just a biography, but a masterclass in how a handful of perfectly crafted, soul-barring songs can forever change a genre. Hank Williams was born into poverty on September 17, 1923, in Mount Olive, Alabama. Williams' life was a testament to the power of raw, unfiltered emotion, a journey from a childhood of hardship to a legacy that would define the very soul of country music. Hank's early years were shaped by two powerful forces: grinding poverty and a persistent sense of abandonment. His father, Lon Williams, was a World War I veteran who suffered a severe head injury and spent most of Hank's childhood in veterans' hospitals. This left Hank to be raised by his fiercely protective and resilient mother, Lily Williams. Lily, a local church organist, immersed Hank in the sacred sounds of gospel music, an influence that would later give his most mournful songs a spiritual depth. However, the most profound musical influence on young Hank came from a street musician named Rufus T. Tot Payne. In the racially segregated South, a poor white boy learning from a black street performer was an unusual sight, but his mom Lily encouraged it. For a few coins or a meal, T. Tot taught Hank the fundamentals of guitar and, more importantly, the emotional core of the blues. Hank Williams was only 8 years old at the time. It was here that Williams learned the art of expressing sorrow and hardship with a profound sense of rhythm and melody. This fusion of gospel's passion and blues' raw honesty would become the bedrock of his iconic sound. Compounding his struggles, Hank Williams had a congenital spinal condition, spina bifida occulta, which caused chronic and agonizing back pain. This pain would be a constant companion, a physical torment that would drive him to self-medicate with alcohol and painkillers, setting him on a tragic and irreversible path. By the late 1930s, the family had moved to Montgomery, Alabama, where a teenaged Hank began his musical career in earnest. He formed his first band, the Drifting Cowboys, and secured a spot on a local radio station, WSFA. His talent was undeniable, but so was his unreliability. A pattern emerged: moments of musical brilliance followed by bouts of heavy drinking that led him being fired from his radio show. This cycle of triumph and self-sabotage would become a hallmark of his life. World War II temporarily stalled his career, but by 1944, Hank had married Audrey Mae Shepherd, a fiercely ambitious woman who would be both his greatest supporter and a source of incredible conflict. With her as his unofficial manager, Williams' career began to take off. In 1946, he signed a songwriting contract with the prestigious Nashville publisher Acuff Rose Publications, and soon after was signed to MGM Records. His first MGM single, Move It On Over, was a top 5 country hit. Some say possibly the first rock and roll song, but his true breakthrough came on the Louisiana Hayride, a popular radio show in Shreveport. It was here that he introduced a new song to his set list, Lovesick Blues, a cover of a much older tune. Williams' version was raw and energetic. It became a smash hit, and in 1949 he was invited to perform it on the biggest stage in country music, the Grand Ole Opry. His performance was legendary, earning an unprecedented 6 encores and making him an instant superstar. The years from 1949 to 52 were the golden age of Hank Williams' career. He became a hit machine, writing and recording a string of songs that were both deeply personal and universally resonant. He earned the nickname the Hillbilly Shakespeare for his uncanny ability to articulate complex emotions with simple and direct language. Songs like I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, Your Cheatin' Heart, Hey Good Lookin', and Cold Cold Heart became standards, transcending the country genre to be covered by artists from every musical background. Tony Bennett's pop version of Cold Cold Heart became a #1 hit in 1951, proving that Williams' themes of love and betrayal had a global appeal. During this time, he also recorded a series of deeply moving spiritual songs under the pseudonym Luke the Drifter, showcasing a more reflective and deeply religious side of his personality. As his professional star reached its zenith, his personal life became a disaster. His marriage to Audrey was famously volatile, marked by constant fighting, infidelity, and emotional turmoil. The pain from his spina bifida became unbearable, and his self-medication spiraled into a full-blown addiction to alcohol and morphine. He became increasingly unreliable, missing shows and performing erratically. This self-destructive behavior culminated in his being fired from the Grand Ole Opry in August of 1952, a devastating public humiliation that symbolized his complete personal decline. His last months were a blur of pain, addiction, and professional despair. And here is where it all ended. On New Year's Eve, 1952, he was scheduled to perform in Canton, Ohio, but was too sick to travel by plane. He hired a college student, Charles Carr, to drive him. Hank, frail and emaciated, embarked on what would be his final journey. In the back seat of his Cadillac, with a bottle of whiskey and a supply of painkillers, he faded into the night. Early on the morning of January 1st, 1953, Carr pulled over in Oak Hill, West Virginia, and discovered that Hank Williams had died in his sleep. He was only 29 years old. The final single released during his lifetime, I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive, would ironically reach #1 on the charts shortly after his death, serving as a haunting and tragic epitaph. Hank Williams' death at such a young age only cemented his legendary status. His funeral in Montgomery, Alabama was a national event, attended by an estimated 25,000 mourners. In the decades since, his influence has grown exponentially. He was among the first inductees into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1961 and was later awarded a special Pulitzer Prize citation in 2010 for his masterful songwriting. His songs have been covered by an almost countless number of artists, from Elvis Presley and Ray Charles to Bob Dylan and the Rolling Stones. Hank Williams was more than just a country singer. He was a troubadour of the common man, a poet of heartbreak, a pioneer who, for a brief and tormented life, left behind a body of work that continues to speak to the human condition with authenticity that has never been surpassed. His life and music are a stark reminder of the beautiful, painful, and often tragic intersection of genius and personal torment. This is the Country Music Time Machine, and this is Country Legends.